We are currently en route from Annapolis to Nova Scotia, where we have planned to spend part of the summer and accidentally ended up in New York on the way. And while over the years we have reached countless incredible destinations, sailing through the East River along Manhattan and Brooklyn was definitely a solid top 10 highlight of our entire sailing adventure. But no time for us to stop for a bagel. After spending 48 hours in Port Washington to take care of some meetings, work, and other boring life necessities, we are getting ready to leave the mooring field to make our fourth attempt to sail to Nova Scotia. And yes, you heard that right. We tried 4 times. Yeah.
We were going to go up north in 2020, but COVID hit. In 2021, Canada's borders were closed. Last year, our dear cruiser, to no fault of his own, he got COVID. And so we turned around. I don't know, what do they say? 4th times is a charm?
And thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this week's episode.
Does Steve get COVID? Stay tuned to find out.
Bye, Port Washington!
We wave goodbye to Port Washington, New York, and what we hope to be our last stop in the US before finally making our great escape to the Great North. After having sailed 265 nautical miles to reach New York, our journey would take us another 500 nautical miles past Long Island, through Martha's Vineyard Sound, and all the way up to Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, where we would finally make our much-anticipated Canadian landfall.
We are cruising through the Long Island Sound. There is 0.0 knots of wind being read right now. It is flat, it is smooth. The sun has just set. Yeah, we've got a long night of the same in front of us, but it's better than the alternative.
Which is what?
Worse seas and no wind.
Fair.
We'd all rather be sailing.
Yeah, always.
Always.
Okay, so the situation is that in the Long Island Sound and all the way to Block Island, Martha's Vineyard, Provincetown, Cape Cod, I believe it is, because of the topography of the area and the fact that it's a very tidal region, there are a lot of currents that change with the tides, obviously. And so our challenge today is to navigate those tides and currents so that we do not end up losing an entire day of sailing. Maybe not a day, but half a day, which we don't want to do. So today we are going to try everything we can to keep the speed above 5 knots so that we arrive in Martha's Vineyard before 6 p.m. tonight. So if we don't manage to arrive in Vineyard Sound by that time, we're gonna end up in 3 knots of countercurrent, which means that we would spend the entire evening trying to go through Vineyard Sound. What is our current status sailing-wise?
We are not motor sailing, we're just motoring. We're doing 6 knots though, 6 point something.
That's because we have the current with us.
That's right. And that will switch probably I'm not actually sure when it will switch. I haven't looked. But I know that the current out here is a lot weaker than where we're going. It's more of like less than a knot, whereas in Martha's Vineyard it's like 3 knots, up to 3 knots.
And to make our lives even easier, we are entering lobster pot territory. I love lobsters. I'm not sure about the pots though. Barnacle isn't too sure about the pots either. It's like, yeah, you guys don't know about that.
What are you doing, honey?
So this morning we have a little bit of swell, and I think that the swell is actually the tide with a bit of wind coming behind it. And Barnacle is a little bit skittish with the walking around, and this is the perfect opportunity to reinforce the walking when the boat is not super stable. So I have her very expensive peanut butter with me. Yes, good job. Oh yes, that's a good girl. And see, all of a sudden she is much more inclined to go for a little walk. I get the flamingos to like
futures in our dreams. It's a tunnel kind of vision, like alcohol's involved. And I'll stray like a hound dog, but I'ma come back when she calls.
As we are heading towards some of the most tidal waters in the world, we thought that tidal currents would be the biggest navigation hazard that we'd had to deal with. But that was before we were halfway through the Vineyard Sound between Martha's Vineyard and the Elizabeth Islands on the beautiful southern coast of Massachusetts. Well, beautiful for as much as we could see, because all of a sudden a thick layer of fog appeared on the surface of the water. Not to worry, we told ourselves. We were soon to be headed offshore anyways, where surely the air wouldn't suffer the temperature difference between land and sea. But little did we know what we were in for.
That's a mast. Or pool. Maybe it's a pool.
Adaptija, this is Paul Lucille, over.
You want to go to 6-8, over? Hello, Sophie, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
So close to you, but so far. Are you guys going straight to Nova Scotia, or are you stopping?
We are going straight. Our crew has some deadline that we need to meet, so straight shot.
Well, you missed that. Maybe on the way back, you guys will stop in someplace.
That's the plan. Straight shot to Nova Scotia and then a very slow return to Annapolis in the fall. We figured that in August, September, this would be a nice part of the world to see.
Yeah, so you guys, we're not going to make it to the Annapolis boat show, so if we don't see you on your way back, we'll see you then.
That sounds good. Thanks for the radio call.
All right, say goodbye on 1-6.
Bully sail back on 1-6.
As we exit the Nantucket Sound and start heading farther offshore, the fog intensifies to the point where we have less than a quarter-mile visibility around us. I thought that the condition would improve in the morning of the next day, but when I got up in the cockpit to take my watch, the fog had actually worsened.
So I woke up about an hour ago to take my watch. It is 9 a.m. and we're out of Cape Cod. We were hoping last night that when the sun will rise, it will heat the air enough to get rid of the fog. It did not. So we are currently motoring in the fog because there is no wind, there is swell, there is fog, no visibility, no wind. We are on a straight course to Nova Scotia and it should take us another couple of days to get there. It's good.
With the forecast showing very little wind for us to sail throughout the entire passage, it is important that we manage both our fuel resources and our sanity. With two crew trying to sleep with the engine on, I try with everything I have to get as much power as I can out of the sails, which in swelly conditions can be tricky to achieve, as the rolling motion of the boat can make the sails flap and actually slow us down. That morning, after getting the sails in and out probably 10 times over the course of my 4-hour watch, I only managed to turn the engine off for half an hour. So I give up and hope that Ryan and Steve's earplugs are doing their job.
Okay, so one thing that I really appreciate having right now is a really good radar because right outside of Cape Cod there's quite a lot of fishing boats, last night in particular, and my visibility is absolutely terrible, but also a lot of times fishing boats don't have AIS, or they have AIS but they purposely choose to not turn it on so that I don't know, other fishing boats don't know where they are. And right now 10 nautical miles from us, there is a little thing that's popping up on the radar, and it's right on my course. Okay, so I know that target number 1 is heading towards me, target number 2 is heading away, and target number 3 is going southeast a little bit. The thing with fishing boats is that they change heading quite a bit, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on what's going on. And in that fog, thank God for the radar. So our radar is a Raymarine Quantum 2. We installed it about 2 years ago and it's been amazing. It's really fast, it's very granular, it acquires targets from really far away and it doesn't take much power. I am so grateful that we have it. We're about to sail in a region where there's a lot of fog and a lot of fishing. What?
Got cabin fever.
Barnacle's like, oh my god, they're losing it too. Hi, YouTube.
Oh wow! Hello, dolphins! Hi guys! Oh wow! Alright, so it is currently 7 p.m. but actually it's 8 p.m. because we've changed time zone. And normally it would be a watch change, but since we changed time zone in the middle of Steve's watch, well, he gets an extra hour. So in the last 48 hours, the view conditions have not changed. We have literally been seeing the exact same shit for 48 hours, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. We've had a little wind, enough wind to sail, and then not enough wind to sail. That is currently what we are experiencing. Fun thing that I realized a moment ago is that today is July 1st. And you know what July 1st is?
It's Canada Day.
It's Canada Day!
It's Canada Day.
Yes!
And finally, here we were in Canada. I don't know, what is it that they say? Fourth time is a charm? I had dreamed of seeing the landscape of southern Nova Scotia and its beautiful nature, coves and islands in almost a decade. And yay! Wow! Amazing sightseeing, such scenery, and experience of a lifetime. But hey, we still made it, and while there wasn't any real way for us to enjoy the scenery of Nova Scotia, other than to use our Starlink to Google it, we decided that we were still going to make it a scene.
Canada!
Bye.
It's been 3 years, we tried! So amazing!
Huh?
Incredible view! Fantastic scenery! Everything we came for!
And you know what else it means for us to be in Canada? Netflix. But that's not a problem anymore, thanks to the sponsor of this video, Surfshark.
So back in 2019, about a year after I started our YouTube channel, Surfshark actually contacted me to ask if I was interested in them sponsoring a couple of videos. And back then I was like, absolutely not. I don't use a VPN. And who uses VPN? Do people do that? And it turns out that the sailing, cruising / world traveler noob that I was at the time was very wrong.
Surfshark is a virtual private network, or VPN, which encrypts all your data between your phone or your laptop and the internet, keeping things like banking information, personal conversations, and the location of hidden treasures away from people, you know, that shouldn't see it. Most importantly for us, it allows Netflix and other applications to believe we are in one location when in actuality we are in another. So this summer we can be in Canada while still watching our favorite US Netflix series like Snowpiercer, which I love. The series is way better than the movie.
Well, I would say that actually most importantly for us, because we work in so many different co-working spaces and remote locations and coffee shops, it helps us keep our data secure when we use internet networks that aren't. So if you also are a sailing, cruising / world traveling noob like I was 6 years ago, and you would like to give Surfshark a try, you can do that at the link in our description below. By clicking that link, you get an extra 3 months of Surfshark, and if you're not satisfied after 30 days, you can get your money back. So don't be like me. Don't wait until you are in Cape Verde about to cross the Atlantic to realize that Spotify Premium doesn't actually allow you to download music there, subsequently forcing you into crossing the Atlantic Ocean with only 2 playlists of music, each of them 15 songs, one of them being country, the other one 50s rock. Don't do that. Try Surfshark.
arrival day, which means I can dress like a crew member.
For our arrival in Canada today, we are giving Barnacle Canadian colors. Oh yes, it's so pretty. The view is so different from
Yesterday and the day before, and
But-
the day before.
the last 48 hours. Look at that, guys! This is Canada! Yay! So over the years, our friend Andy Shell has repeatedly told us that Lunenburg is his favorite harbor to enter. And I was looking forward to know why. Oh my god, yes, this is land! My god, you guys. This is remarkable. This is going to be the most underwhelming arrival ever. So apparently you can operate the foghorn that's in that lighthouse as a ship that's passing by. Ron is trying to make it happen. It'd be fun. Well, hello there, Lunenburg. Oh my god, we made it!
We're here!
Woo! Woo!
If at first you don't succeed, try again.
We made it! 3 years after we first attempted to go to Nova Scotia. I can't believe we're here. All right. Okay, so one thing that you may have asked yourself is why did we come all the way to Lunenburg and not make a stop on the southern tip of Nova Scotia? And that is because, well, you can't just roll into a new country without announcing yourself. And whenever we enter a new country, we have to check in at a port of entry. And turns out that in Canada, the closest port of entry is Lunenburg. Checking in with customs was really easy. We just called a number, gave them all of our details, and now we're ready to go. And it's time to go to shore. As a really nice surprise, the fog is lifting over Lunenburg. The views are much better. The harbor is like getting a little clearer of the fog. Just enough fog that it's really pretty. So now we're gonna go ashore, have a beer, and properly celebrate the fact that after 3 years, we finally made it here. There we go.
Good girl.
Good job, Barney. Let's go to land. Go. Where to go? Okay, for a minute we could see Policio out of this restaurant in the harbor, and then the fog came back. And check this out. Okay, so at this point we can't even see our boat anymore, and I genuinely do not know how we're gonna ride back to the morning. Also, this camera doesn't have any battery anymore, so this is the end of the video. I'll tell you next week how it went. Hopefully, I'm still there to talk about it. I do not feel confident about this dinghy ride.
What about it? Do you not feel?
The fact that we can't even see where our boat is. Do we even know where we're going?
Yeah.
I do not feel good about this. I'm personally against what's currently happening.
What's the alternative?
I know, right? Sleeping in the dinghy is not really an option.
Every inn we passed was sadly and weirdly no vacancy. This is a very full, small town. What is it like to be red at night? Before I tuck it in, is it like one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish? Good night moon. Found it.
Beating it.
Then I can do back. Found it.